Now we invited a group of panelists that are a member of the youth advisory group for Resist Stigma, and we're going to hear from them about their reflection about the summit, but also what they think we should do about stigma. So I'm going to introduce all our panelists. So the first person that we have is Zach Harcourt from Toronto. We have Aidan Ebola from Toronto. We have Biggin from HIV Edmonton. We have Sizwe Inkingi from Ottawa, and Darren Ho from YouthCo. What about you, Darren? What are your reflections about the summit and the stigma?
Thank you for asking me to start, Olivier. Okay, so yes, I was asked to give you guys my reflection on this stigma conference. So first, I really think that this theme of stigma was not difficult for many of us to delve our minds into, just because stigma has always been so connected with our identities as gay and or queer men. Unfortunately, we in this community are being shamed for much more than just our gay and queer identity. So actually, in preparation for speaking on this panel, I wrote down some keywords from a couple of sessions that I attended. And so the words I have that I'm unpacking are sexual racism, racial exclusion, isolation, identity erasure, and informational erasure, shame, and stamina. My thoughts are that even though all the speakers and workshop facilitators spoke so eloquently on stigma, for me at least, it's not always easy to have the words or vocabulary to talk about stigma. But I've realized that actually, in coming to past conferences and doing the work that we do, stigma has always been an underlying issue in basically all fields that we've been working on. We just haven't talked about it as stigma. We've talked about it as discrimination or determinants of health or things like that. So I'm grateful that we've had this space to not only listen to, but to ask our colleagues and our teammates, because I'm going to call us teammates, how to be more inclusive and how to not further stigmatize parts of our identity. Yeah.
Sizwe, what are you taking out of this summit?
First and foremost is I know I have a lot of undoing to do from someone that felt stigma and still feels stigma. This conference was very interesting in knowing how it has different layers to it from a structural standpoint and even from an interpersonal standpoint. And that really was interesting as is. But one thing that really stuck with me was the storytelling component, where our stories are very powerful. Hearing people from different communities, going to different workshops, and even the inclusivity of various workshops was very amazing. As an LGBT newcomer, getting this resources or getting to being in a room with like-minded folk talking about this is very radical, and I'm very thankful for this conference and the people that have spoken and presented. So yeah.
Thank you. Do you wanna go last, Brooke?
Oh, do you want?
No, you were like me.
Yeah. Anyway,
you can go.
I'm a little stressed. I'll just be honest. But Olivier did give me permission to swear, so that'll be my coping mechanism. And so I was like really trying to figure out what I should say, and I didn't get to go to the storytelling one. I bet you would have been amazing. I really enjoyed this conference. For those of us who come from regions like the prairies and whatnot, like getting to hang out with so many people working in queer men's health is really amazing and a great opportunity. And there are 4 guys here from Edmonton, which is super exciting for us. But a lot of the things that I went to, like, were a lot of research and stuff, a lot of high-level stuff, and that plays a very important role. But as I was reflecting on like stigma on the conference, I was just thinking, like, at the end of the day, like, regardless of whatever letters come after people's names here, and regardless of what role you hold within your agency, what's super exciting is that we're, like, for the most part, just a bunch of queer guys, right? and queer guys who experience stigma in like a really real and tangible way, but who also experience love and power and here community. And for me, thinking about stigma in my own life, it was about 4 years ago that I came back from doing my master's in Scotland and was diagnosed as HIV positive. And at the time, my whole world kind of shrunk up, you know, kind of like from a grape to a raisin. I don't know why. Anyway, that's what it was like. And I remember those first days, and I remember lying in my bed the next day and just kind of wanting to like bleed out just to get whatever it was outside of me. And I guess that's really kind of my claim to stigma in the Oppression Olympics. It's also, what's also really cool is like that experience of being HIV positive is also what has led me now 4 years later to starting a great grassroots gay men's health collective in Edmonton. We're 35 strong and doing some really great work, and I'm really excited about that. And it's what brought me here, you know, what has me here today. And so, yeah, I don't know, like, I think it's really great that I'm here and you're here for whatever reason brought you here. And I'm just really excited about what we can do as a bunch of queer guys.
Amazing, Brooke. But there was no swearing. I give you permission for nothing. Next one. Raise the bar. Aiden, we want to hear from you. Okay. What do you think about the summit?
I thought lots of things. I think it's no secret that I've been a huge fan of the summit ever since I first heard about it in Toronto, and I just like, how can I get there? And so I'm super happy to have experienced it this year, and it's great to be at a summit that kind of looks at like broadening our notion of gay men's health and queer men's health, and looking at how stigma affects us in more than one way, and how our experience around mental health and race and gender identity is all connected, and our fight is kind of all working together. And also there are a lot of cute boys in gay men's health in BC.
As much as you want. Zach's gonna go next.
Okay. Hello, everyone. For anyone who sat near me during the summit, you probably noticed I was taking like notes, basically for the entire conference. And I prepared something in advance, so I'm going to share that with you. So it's always difficult for me to talk about, stigma without first talking about my own experience. As a biracial Ojibwe Caribbean individual, as a sexual minority, as a former homeless youth, and as a survivor, the stigma I've experienced and continue to experience is, aside from being pervasive, both paralyzing and overwhelming. Over the last 2 days, I've had the privilege of attending many wonderful and informative sessions, and I've met many beautiful, brilliant people. To be in this room participating in such an important dialogue is truly an honor. I think it's imperative that we continue to use our voices and our talents to advocate on behalf of those who aren't able to share their voices and who are often ignored and dismissed. We need to support those people so that they too can join the fight. I would like to thank each and every one of you on behalf of those who are not afforded the space and platforms to share their experience and to have their voices heard. If someone had told me a year ago today that in a year's time I would be sitting on a youth panel at a conference on gay men's health in Vancouver, I would have told them that they're, far too kind and optimistic. I would have cautioned them against the installation of false hope. Or what I would have called false hope, as I never thought such an opportunity would present itself. And now it gets a little personal, not quite yet. I would have told them that the materialization of any goals and dreams I had were just that, goals and dreams, and that They would never and could never be realized. And for my bit of self-disclosure, can everyone hear me? Okay, excellent. I'm just going to move the mic. I'm like left-handed and stuff, so. Okay, and to conclude, following a very serious attempt on my own life last fall, I was evicted from residence. My studies were put on hold, and following a prolonged admission at St. Michael's Hospital in Toronto, I was discharged into Covenant House, a shelter for homeless youth, where I would spend 8 of the most challenging months of my young adult life. I'm getting a little emotional. This experience left me feeling fragmented and extinguished. And such an experience leaves many feeling worthless, inferior, and hopeless, vulnerable, and a whole slew of negative emotions that are tied to stigma. And again, I just want to thank all of you for being here and for the work you've done. Tied to my own experience, I know I wasn't always able to, kind of like advocate for myself and for others, even though I really wanted to. And I'm very moved and touched that all of you are doing so much great work. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Zach. So obviously, I don't think we needed a 2-day conference to learn that stigma is a bad thing, but I think we needed to hear about each other's experience to really understand how we can better intervene and kind of resist to stigma or build intervention that are kind of counter stigma. So I've asked all our panelists here to kind of consider that question, how do we resist stigma? So why don't we, I'm going to make it stressful for them. I'm going to pick them like randomly. Aiden.
Okay. Thank you, Olivier. Let me just find my notes. I think we can resist stigma in a lot of ways, and I think some great ideas have been thrown out, but one thing that really sticks with me is the idea of working together and finding community, learning from each other, and really coming together as a community to fight against the stigma that we're all experiencing, and realizing that one person's struggle is all of our struggle.
Good job.
Thank you.
Why don't we go back to you, Zach?
Okay. So again, I guess, speaking from my own observations and experience, for me, I guess over the past year, I found, my confidence was really shattered, and it was something I never thought would be rebuilt. And it was through my work at EGAL and, working on the embodiment campaign with the Movember Foundation, kind of, opportunity and a renewed purpose and a renewed sense of confidence. And I think that's really important. I'm just thinking back to my experience in the shelter. A lot of the LGBTQ2S youth were afraid to come out, and we could kind of see each other, but we were afraid to kind of form our own community. And I think people forget that they do belong. And I know for me, for the longest time, I felt like I didn't really have a place in this world, and I wanted to have a place. And I think it's important that we create opportunities and that we have youth panels like this where people are included and where we can share our experiences. And collaboration is another thing. I've asked questions throughout the conference. I have trouble bridging the gap between multiple organizations to which I belong, and I think it was Aiden's panel that I was kind of taken with how much how collaborative their work is and how inclusive it is. I came across the term prosumer related to mental health. That's when patients become therapists, and I think in my case, I truly I'm honored to be here, and I think it's one thing. I'm wrapping up. It's one thing to kind of see people do the work for you, but it's also it's a beautiful feeling to kind of participate in that. And I think I have many other things I could say, but those are some of the key things that stand out for me when I think of resisting stigma.
Brooke, It's your time to swear and to answer the question, what actions are most needed to reduce stigma?
It's coming, it's coming. But see, now I need to save it because you guys are all going to expect it. Yeah, I think when I was thinking about it, my first thought was like to just do it, but I mean, like if it was that simple, then like we'd all just be doing it. But I think we kind of are anyway. Like just reflecting back on my own experiences, first as like a gay guy in a Pentecostal Bible college. I was once almost a Christian missionary, and trying to work with people to build bridges to the LGBT community, and constantly being told to wait, you know. And then as a pause guy in a system that was supposed to be serving my needs and not doing that, being told to wait, I just really got tired of waiting. And I was not willing any longer to be relegated into a low place within a hierarchy of power that the people who benefited from that hierarchy made me believe I was bound to. And so, you know, at the same time, I kind of left the church. Not that you should, if you know, that's your thing. But at the same time, I was in San Francisco, and I went to the National AIDS Memorial, and I went to the Circle of Peace, and I was like writing a song. You should all check out my music. A little plug. I just like started really like learning about my heritage of badass motherfuckery, right? That's two. And just getting really, really excited about what these people did. And I just love what ACT UP stands for, which is the AIDS Coalition to Unleash Power. And I just realized that within myself exists power. And I think that we just need to access that. And when we recognize something that is not just, when we recognize something that is wrong, we can choose to access that power within us. And if we as a community coalesce around that idea and harness that collective power and unleash it on systems of injustice, you know, I think we'll be okay.
Sizwe, how do we resist stigma now?
Two ways. Back home we say kira ukize, so that means heal so that you can heal others. So for the people that are doing work in community building work, you can't help others if you can't help yourself. So taking out and undoing a lot of the stigma is hard, but what you have to do is understand your intersectionality. By that is acknowledging your place in society, your privilege, or be it your class, your race, whatever it is, that's a standpoint as is, and you would know where to go. And the last thing, as we all said here, like, and I always told Zach in the hotel room, is back when we say Ubuntu, so I am because you are. If I am happy, if you're happy, I am happy. If you're sad, I am sad. So our liberation is bound onto each other. We have to stand together, and we have to realize how to do that. So again, we have to, in order to do that, we need to come to ourselves firstly. So literally, just understanding your intersectionalities and just really going with it and not being afraid. And again, telling your story is very important, and sharing it with people is also important, because where I'm from, we don't have visibility. And I used to think I was the only gay black person in the world. So literally, so what I'm trying to say, from someone who is a newcomer here, it's sad to see that I used to have this hope, because everyone told me, oh, like being gay is a white thing, or this is a Western concept, or all these different things. So when you come here and you're seen as not fitting in, it's hard. You know, it's hard piecing your sexuality in your culture, where people, in your culture, sex is taboo as is. So how do you navigate through that? So that's my personal undoing. But like, if you know yours, you're at a good start. So that's what I could say.
Darren.
Thank you. Yes, I also agree that we should be combating or fighting stigma with visibility. But then also moving forward, I think it might be useful if we as individuals make two distinctions, and two distinctions relating to priorities. And one is there's things that we can and should do to remove stigma in our communities. And the second is there's things that we can and should do to support those who are affected by stigma in our communities. And so maybe these two priorities sometimes overlap. Maybe we have to take them as two separate things. Skylar and Maggie said to put people first, so there's also that to consider. But for me, I really think that we need to do both, but seeing as how there's so many of us, we don't have to do both individually, but both can happen simultaneously as a community, I think. So it sounds really confusing, but this is actually the same mindset that I have when people often ask me, what should we do about racism? Yes, we have to end racism, but we also have to support the people who are facing it. Then oftentimes it's two separate initiatives that we might have to take for this to happen. I also think that anti-stigma messaging is vital, and when we continue to promote this type of messaging, it's very, very important to meet people where they're at. Otherwise, we'll lose them completely, and they won't even care about what the message is. So I think we can't tell people to stop being racist or transphobic or homophobic if they don't know how they are being racist or transphobic or homophobic. I mean, it came up as a joke earlier in one of the sessions that, when it comes to trans 101 workshops, like slide 1 has to be trans guys exist, and then slide 2 has to be nice to trans people. I mean, yes, it sounds like a stupid joke, but actually we do have to do this whole we exist part first. So meeting people where they're at, I think, is really, really important. This summit has also reminded me about the profound power of storytelling and the importance of giving space for marginalized folks to tell their stories. And I think this is also very, very vital for the work that we are trying to do. So I really just think we need to keep doing this and then just do more of it. Yeah.
Does anyone want to add anything on the panel?
Are we forgetting something?
No, I'm just, spontaneously.
I guess solidarity, intergenerational solidarity, and sustainable structures. Why should we always depend on funding most of the time? Can we find something to do in terms of like making space for ourselves? And it would also be good, I think Jazzy mentioned that last time, is creating space for the people that are stigmatized or people that are experiencing the stigma to talk about it, to empower themselves too, and just know how to undo certain things too as a community. So, and people standing in solidarity should push for that too. Yeah.
Good to go. I think it came up a lot during the conference, the importance of empathy. And I think also, like for me, being, like having multiple minority status, I always forget to kind of empathize with, those who are stigmatizing me, and, to realize like I need to empathize with them in order to kind of teach them. And to take, for everyone, I think it should be a rule of thumb to kind of be a curious observer instead of assuming that we understand everything and that we understand where people are coming from. That was like one of the biggest lessons I learned over the past year.
Well, thank you. Aiden, go ahead.
I'm just going to add a little thing. I was just thinking about it when Brick was speaking, actually, that we need to stop being afraid of being political. I think we are political identities, and so we really have to respect that. We have to walk the walk if we're going to talk the talk, like conversation started, now what's going to come through that, and just don't be afraid to take action.
Back when I was trying to write what I was gonna say, I came up with a thought that I didn't fit in. But essentially, this is my little grassroots plug. Last night, somebody. Anyway, we'll go to it. I had too much wine and started getting too power to the people. But essentially, it was the idea that our our role in the movement, because like this is a movement, right, is not restricted to whatever our role is within our organization or our organization's mandates. That's first thing that's important. And second of all, the movement is not restricted to the people who are in this room and the people who are accessing our programs and services and the great things like Totally Outright. And so we need to ensure that as we move forward, we're moving forward, with the whole community.
Great, thank you. Just a big round of applause for five very talented young gay men, and I believe that if you're in command of us fighting stigma, we're in a very good place to start. So thank you so much for your comment. I just want to say, this summit was on stigma. The summit is ending, but I think the fight against stigma is just starting, at least for our organization, the Community-Based Research Center. We are launching a stigma project that will take us over the next year to engage young gay and bisexual and trans men in the fight against stigma through a kind of viral video messaging. And if you want to be part of this or be aware of it, you can actually find us both on Facebook and Twitter at Resist Stigma. You can be a part of us or witness us and share with us how you think we should actually resist stigma. This is the end of the summit already. I can't believe. I feel I just had my first cup of coffee and just started meeting people at the summit, but it's already the end. It goes by so fast. Maybe we need a third day next year. So, yeah.